Welcome back. Now, she's a young musician who has been described as one of the most talented pianists of all time. Chisato Kusunoki has been leaving audiences spellbound with her intense performances of Russian classical music.
And since her graduation from the prestigious Royal Academy of Music, Chisato has given several critically acclaimed performances throughout Europe and Asia. Well, this morning, we're glad to have the piano protege with us in studio to tell us all about her musical journey. Good morning, Chisato. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
So, how did your love affair with the piano begin?
My father was an amateur pianist, and my older sister played the piano when I was small, so it just became quite natural to me to start the piano, and there was always classical music in the house.
Wow.
So
Now, most kind of experts or maestros that we speak to or hear about, they start at a very, very young age, age 3
a lot of
or
them
something.
do.
Is that the same with you?
I started when I was nearly 5. I was 4, but almost 5, and so I suppose, yes, it was quite early. Yes,
too.
yes.
Well, it's a good thing you had a love for it, because we were just joking earlier that we both had piano lessons. I hated having to learn to play the piano. I regret now, but at the time, you know, when you're thinking, oh, I could be out playing and, you know...
Yes.
Did you ever have that feeling at all, or did you always just love practicing?
Actually, I always loved, and I remember, actually, my parents never pushed me to do the piano. Actually, it was me who said I really wanted to do this instrument. And even before I started taking lessons, I was tinkling on the piano and making up my tunes and making arrangements of famous tunes.
So you never tried any other instruments? Didn't want to blow a trumpet? Didn't try anything else? It was always the piano?
No, I've tried a flute. I played the flute, but not very well. I've never had time to practice properly. But yes.
How much practice does it take to get to the level that you're at?
Well, actually, when I was small, I didn't do very much practice. It wasn't until when I was 14 that I knew I really wanted to become a pianist as my career. And since then, I have been practicing, I would say, average of 6 hours a day. Or more, yes.
And when you realised at age 14, what did you do about it?
What did I do about it?
Did you seek out the best teachers?
Did you tell your parents
Yes,
first?
yes, of course, yes, I did, yes. I had a very, my parents helped me to look for a good teacher, and I had a good piano, and it meant that I had to study very hard by listening to all the maestros playing, and went to concerts a lot and took master classes. So, yes, I had to be quite dedicated with the study.
And we hear Russian music is what you love the most. Why is that?
Yes, it's not just the Russian music that I like, but it's something about Russian music that I've always been attached to since I was quite young. It's difficult to say why. It's like asking a question, why you like this particular colour or why you like particular food. But I think it's that, for me, Russian music is like a human voice. It's got the beautiful narrative quality to it, and poetic, and the drama, and this passion that I love about.
Yeah, and that comes through in your playing as well. I mean, just the way that you move your body, you can tell that you're so into it. Do you get quite a lot of comments about that?
Yes, I do, and I'm quite surprised because when I'm playing, I'm really not aware of my body movements. And when I watch myself in the films, I'm quite shocked by it. Because I was told that you should really keep your body still so that you're in control of your movements of your hands and fingers. But I suppose I'm just so totally involved in the music that I'm kind of having a physical response to the momentum of music, I think.
Yeah.
Which people say is even better. I mean, now you can go back and tell your former music teachers, you see, I don't have to sit straight and it still works.
Maybe.
But what it really means is you're caught up in the music. You're feeling the journey the music is taking you on.
I suppose so, yes, yes.
Now, do you prefer performing live, or do you prefer in front of an audience, or privately?
Do you mean privately, as just to myself?
Just yourself, yeah.
I enjoy both parts of piano playing in different ways. Playing in private means that you need the persistence, and I'm always trying to understand and analyze music and try to ask questions to myself. What does this particular phrase mean to me? And trying to find how I want to bring the emotions in the music to communicate with the audience. But when it comes to performing live, I have to forget all the details. I have to be spontaneous and let the music breathe so I can communicate with the audience.
Yeah. You also need a lot of stamina as well. What do you do outside of your piano playing to keep that up?
I try to do yoga and meditation to keep my mind focused, which is very important for performing. But I like quite domestic things like knitting or clothes making, cooking, ordinary things.
Okay.
But
things that use your hands as well.
Yes, I do like creative things, which is different from music. But in fact, I don't have enough time to do these.
Do you have any special secret finger or hand exercises that you do?
I never do any hand exercises. I just try to soak my hands in aromatherapy oil, and that's about it.
Okay, well that's a good tip. Yes, tell us what your plans are for the future then. I mean, you've got a long future ahead of you.
Yes, I would very much like to pursue composition. As I said earlier, I've always enjoyed improvising and making my own tunes, and that's something I'd like to experiment in future. And also extend my repertoire. There's so much music that is still hidden, unknown, and I'd like to bring that to the public, yes.
Do you have any other pianists that you look to as sort of for inspiration?
Oh, so many pianists that I admire, yes. Living pianists, I particularly like Gregory Sokolov, Russian pianist, and past pianists, there's so many, especially Russian pianists called Vladimir Sofronitsky.
But it will always be classical music. You've never thought of playing some jazz music, maybe, or...
I enjoy jazz very much, especially 1920s to 30s, old jazz tradition. But I think I need to develop that skill of particular improvisation, which I don't have. So that's something I...
Tell us what goes through your mind when you get up on stage and you're faced with this audience. What are you thinking?
I try not to think about what the audiences are thinking about. I try to be focused on the music and the journey, how I feel about each phrase and the beauty of harmony. I just try to be inside the music.
So no nervousness or...
I do get nervous, yes, inevitably, yes.
It's easier when it's all dark and you can't see people. You know, just like here, we look out to the cameras, not forgetting about the millions out there watching the show.
I'm interested to know, I don't know whether you can reveal this, but do professionals make mistakes on stage?
Oh, yes. All the time, really? Yes. But a part of being a professional is to hide it.
Yes. So would you say on average a performance, would you make a mistake of performance, or how does it work?
Sometimes I can get away without making any mistakes, but for me, making mistakes, like hitting wrong notes, isn't so important. I think conveying the musical emotion in music is much more important to me. So I try not to think too much about it.
Hopefully the audience won't as well. I'm sure they don't even notice, right?
Well,
sometimes I'm sure they do.
For a moment there, I thought you were talking about us because, you know, I mean, I'm sure that happens frequently. Well, Chisato, thanks so much for coming in. All the best.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Here.
Thank you very much.
We've been speaking with piano sensation Chisato Kusunoki about her gift to perform some of history's most complex Russian piano pieces.
And if you're keen for an evening of classical music, she will be performing at the Victoria Concert Hall in Singapore on the 13th of May. Her concert, entitled From Russia with Love, will be one of the last few performances before the Victoria Concert Hall closes for renovations. So get your tickets from Sistik. You know, it's just, I mean, piano pieces, especially the slow ones, are just so romantic, so full of emotion, as she mentioned. And yeah, it really, if you just close your eyes, you can imagine a whole story taking place, like in the movies, you know.
So you're sitting in the audience too, kind of swaying
with
the piece? Yeah.
You gotta have that, you know? I mean,
okay. Well, this has been Primetime Morning this Tuesday, the 11th of May. We'll be back tomorrow.